Hi there, it's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Mike Gustafson and Clint Scott. I'm Aaron Dickens. We're joining you today until 6 o'clock. Would love to hear your thoughts and your comments and your questions, your gripes and comments, hopes and dreams, all that stuff on the H Flooring Center chat line at Double T 97.3.com. Gus already bored. That's a great sign.
Gus breaking out a yawn.
All guests appear via the Benchmark hotline. You know, this would be impossible to implement because the current system governing college football is it's already entrenched. You would need to just start from scratch, and that's not going to happen. But you and I are watching a match of the English soccer whatever League Cup, which is like a in-season knockout tournament that has every team in the top 4 levels of English soccer that are in it, right? And more often than not, it's like the big boys, the bigger clubs will win it. But still, I mean, you end up with games with the English Premier League teams and some of the big 4 clubs playing the little guys. And I've always thought that was kind of interesting. I'm sure it's a good grind and a drag for the players. But I think that would be kind of interesting in college football, too, to have that midway through the season at some point. Because
college football?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to say no to more games.
I got you.
You know, and that would be another trophy for somebody. And I don't think, listen, Wisconsin Whitewater's not ever going to win it. But a North Dakota State might, every now and then, depending on what else happens.
And it would be some unforced or some forced scheduling, which would be an interesting thing for college football.
Oh, sure, because it would require a governing body for the whole sport,
right.
And that doesn't exist. And what I think would be interesting about this kind of deal is that, some clubs would take it more seriously than others, and so maybe Alabama sits some of its starters for a game against, UAB or anyways.
Yeah, sure.
Just a random thought for Wednesday as we sit here and watch. I think Leeds United and the Wolves.
Well, the
Wolverhampton Wanderers. Excuse me. That's such a cool name too, by the way.
Yeah,
we don't have anything as cool as Wolverhampton Wanderers in college football.
That's a mouthful. Yeah, the sports like basketball and baseball with some more inventory are able to do that. I've wondered about, and I don't know if this happens, but I would think a sport like soccer, college soccer, they could have little 4-team deals, and I know they have scheduled 4 teams at one venue, with games on Friday and Sunday, but I don't know that they play to a championship necessarily. You know what I mean? Like the 2 winners from Friday and the 2 losers will play on Sunday. I don't know. They might do that, and I might just be missing it. But that would be, I'm anything for variety of interesting matchups. Just the idea that, Texas Tech has never faced on campus and a current member of the Big Ten Conference. Who
Wait, one more time?
A Texas Tech has never had a current, I don't remember a member of the current Big 12, but of the Big Ten, but they've never had a Big Ten team.
Like an active Big Ten
member.
Right,
active. That's the right word. Yeah. Obviously Nebraska, now they're in the league.
But they
not
were in the Big 12 at the time. Okay.
And I'm thinking like
that's astounding.
It really is. And the SEC matchups have been obviously in our you and I's lifetimes has been Ole Miss, I guess. I think they did some Mississippi State back in the 60s. And there may be another one or two, but and I've always thought, like, really, like, is Purdue not, I don't even know what would happen if you called up Purdue and said, hey, you want to do home and home? How that would go? Now, we've done ACC, and the Pac-12, I think, is very logical that we've done home and homes with several of them, both Arizona's, Oregon, USC.
Well, heck, maybe Oregon is in the
Oregon State's coming, and that's coming as well.
Maybe Oregon's in the Big Ten by the time that you go.
That's
of course, they'll be here next year, so never mind. Forget it.
Yeah, that's true. But I've just wondered about that. I mean, I've just, and I'm not blaming anybody.
Sure.
I'm just it's a commentary. Like,
well, even
Minnesota never picked up the phone and called, or Indiana or Purdue, just kind of one of the mid-level Big Ten programs. Didn't never. Feels like Iowa might have been the closest, but we've matched up with them a couple times in bowl games.
It doesn't seem like you really have played many teams from that general area in the first place. Right? I mean, Nebraska's Nebraska, obviously, and Iowa State is kind of up there too, but, I don't know that you've played a directional Michigan school, and there are like 3 of them.
Yeah.
There's a ton like Toledo and Akron and all those teams. That's interesting. I never would have thought that.
Isn't it crazy? And again, I would have thought somewhere along the way you just stumbled into a home and home with Indiana or somebody that, who knows. But, and of course we've gone to Ohio State a couple times, went to Penn State, I think shortly after they joined the Big Ten in about 94-ish. But, those weren't return trips, obviously.
More Tech Talk next.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, it's the Juice on Double T 97.3 and DoubleT973.com with Gus and Clint. I'm Aaron. Time for some headlines brought to you by our friends at Specs Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods. Last night, the College Football Playoff Committee unveiled their latest top 25 rankings. TCU jumped 3 spots to number 4 heading into its big Saturday showdown at 18th ranked Texas. Georgia jumps to number 1. Ohio State remains number 2. And then Michigan climbs to 3. Alabama checked in at number 9, which is exactly what I picked.
That's right. I was 10. You were 9.
No, I was 9.
No, you were 8.
I was 9. You were 8. I was 9.
Yeah.
Remember, I was 99.
No, I called it. Yeah, there you go.
I even restrained myself when I saw it this morning. I didn't look at it last night. I saw number 9, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to text Aaron and Gus.
2-loss Alabama is just 2 spots behind LSU, which beat it last weekend, and it's ahead of 1-loss Clemson, 1-loss Ole Miss, and 1-loss UCLA. How about that? Some news from the world champion Houston Astros, a.k.a. America's team. The Astros announced today that they would be signing Dusty Baker for a 1-year contract for the 2023 season. The 73-year-old earned his first World Series championship as a manager earlier this month as the Astros beat the Philadelphia Phillies in 6 games. And then also this afternoon, less than a week removed from winning the World Series, the Astros declined a $10 million option on first baseman Trey Mancini in favor of a $250,000 buyout. Also declined a $13 million option on reliever Will Smith in favor of a $1 million buyout.
Kind of like the thought of a young Astros left-hander getting a crack now that Will Smith is moving on.
I think that's a great idea.
I like that.
Yeah,
of course, we're talking about Red Raider Parker Mashinsky.
Maybe he can be the 3rd player down the line to win a World Series MVP and play at Dan Law Field.
Yeah, and
Fingers crossed.
Fresh off the taxi squad.
Yeah.
Just like follow the
Just
Jerry
like Kenya.
McKean route. Yeah.
You too can join the program. We would love to hear from you today. Let us know what you think on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at doublet973.com. This from our friend Bobby Hot Dogs. I thought that the curb stomping from Maurice Claret and Ohio State was a home game. No, that was in Columbus. That was like the season kickoff game, whatever special thing, and it was in like August, and they blew you out. And people forget that wasn't like a top 5 Buckeyes team. I think they were kind of middle of the pack in terms of the AP top 25. I don't think really folks knew how good they were at the time, and so certainly that loss looks a lot better now than I think it maybe did at the time. This in the challenge. When was the last time Kansas won in Lubbock? It's going to happen this weekend, and that's just pathetic.
I believe the answer was 2001 homecoming. Yeah, Cliff went out, and it was an overtime loss, and I think Kansas scored, and then BJ threw a pick. I believe that's right. Either that or BJ just threw a pick, and they ran it back for a defensive touchdown, and that ended it. I can't remember exactly, but B.J. Simmons was the quarterback at the end of the game, and it didn't go well.
This on the chat line. Big teams in the English Premier League use these games, these League Cup games, for the backups to play in and get experience. How about that? Hey, producing on the fly here because we've got a clock issue or whatever. How much time do we have left in this segment, Clint?
Got about 4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes. That's plenty. That's more than I ever need. The American Athletic Conference revealed their scheduling model for conference games.
Oh, nice.
For the 2023 through 26 seasons. They'll have 14 teams beginning next year. It'll be their first with 14 teams. They're playing 8 conference games every year. And they have set it up to where there are 6 protected rivalries, which is odd. I don't know why you wouldn't just go ahead and make 7 pairs there. And I don't know the American well enough to kind of tell you which teams got left out here. But they have 6 protected matchups: North Texas, SMU, UAB, Memphis, Rice, UTSA. Man, the Roadrunners got the better end of that deal. Charlotte, East Carolina, FAU, South Florida, and Navy, Temple.
Boy, just about every one of those is a pretty good regional fit too. Sure. I mean, just about every one of those is like a bus trip.
And so the rest will just kind of be split up, and so every 2 years you will play everybody. At least once. So interesting choice there. And then of course, top 2 teams in terms of winning percentage go to the conference championship game. It'll be interesting to kind of see how close the Big 12 is to that. Of course, the biggest difference is you want to play non-conference games, which makes the numbers a little bit tricky.
Yeah, we're seeing some different models flying around. A lot of stuff has been proposed. A couple of things has actually been put in place. So I'm here. I'm ready. I'm here for it. Ready to see what we do with the Big 12.
November's already a third over, basically.
Wow. Well, I thought I heard somebody say that it could come as late as early December. Now I don't.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I know, and I don't remember who said it, and if it was someone I know. I don't know if it was someone that had some real knowledge or if it was just hedging, but I prefer the pre-Thanksgiving.
This in the chat line. You can't say it's pathetic if it hasn't happened yet. You have zero idea what's going to happen, unless that's the future fairy. But yeah, I mean, like I saw this question posed on Reddit actually over the weekend after Kansas beat Oklahoma State, and it was from a Kansas fan. like a Kansas athletics fan, not just a Kansas basketball fan.
So you do get my text and stuff.
And the question was, hey, when will it stop being embarrassing to lose to Kansas? You know, I mean, Kansas is 6-3, right? They're
I would
they
say like,
were 5-0 when their star quarterback, went down.
I would say like right now at this moment, it's all about expectations.
Well, and it's like, I get it. I'm with you. My brain knows that. I think most of our brains know that. But let me tell you, Gus, if Tech comes up on the short end of that deal on Saturday, which is very possible,
you're sour.
Which is, yeah, save that. Yeah, save that.
It works for any
chat
sport.
Line will be melting down.
Oh, I get it.
Melting down.
I get it. Hey, I mean, we've all sort of had to come to grips with the idea that we don't own Iowa State anymore. Because back in the day when the schedule came out, we would go, hell, Iowa State, there's a win. Kansas, there's a win.
More Tech Talk next.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T973.com with Gus and Clint. I'm Aaron. Joining you today until 6. All the high school fans on 40 at 7 on 100.7 The Score. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments in the Yates Flooring Center chat line at Double T973.com. This in the chat line. Somebody asks, do y'all know what happened to Malik Ondigo? I have no idea.
Yeah, he's not with the program anymore.
Yeah. Looks like he and his lady friend are expecting. I don't know how recent that is.
Well, he was here, and then went to Rice, and came back briefly, and
yeah, it is what it is.
I missed him on the bench, and
I don't know that you're.
I haven't really, truly, and the prep I've done to try to acquaint myself with that roster, he is nowhere to be found. In terms of having a uniform number, nor did I see him on the bench. Now, could have missed him, but
hard to miss somebody when they're 6'10".
Yeah.
You know, it'd be nice to have a little bit more size on the bench, but I don't think that Malik Ondigo is like some kind of savior in terms of the issues that are presented with the injury to Fardaws Aimaq. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I think. It was interesting the other day to see KJ Allen get, he got 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that he's an answer. I mean, they had 12 guys play, and 11 of them played at least 10 minutes. And I don't know that he'll be a big factor in buying some minutes for Bacho, but it was good to see him out there running around and making some plays and whatnot. I mean, suddenly he's a grizzled veteran of college basketball, right? He's been around. I mean, not here, but between junior college and here, it's what, a fourth-year guy?
And certainly, I think he brings some hustle, some energy, some juice,
some athlete,
some motor.
Yep, no doubt. So, I mean, could he be a part of spelling Bacho here and there to get him some minutes off the floor, and that's going to be a bigger deal once we get past the Texas Southerns. And
speaking of Bacho, how did you feel about those sideburns?
But yeah, and the yeah, that was rough, man. He looked like Rutherford B. Hayes or somebody like that. That was just unkempt.
Big fan,
but not yours is kempt compared to his mess. But I'm not worried about that.
I'm not worried about it. Do we know that do we know that it's like ironic, or is that actually cool for the young kids? You know, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, is he kind of having a laugh? I mean, baseball players do that sometimes, right? They'll have bizarre haircuts, or they'll rock like ridiculous mustaches or whatever.
Some closer hair,
knowing that it looks ridiculous.
Sure, it's kind of part of it.
Or does Baccio wake up every morning and go, man, I look good.
Hello.
Let's poof these out a little bit more.
We're gonna need that clipped. You can edit me out of there and just get the part where he says, "Man, I look good."
I can definitely do one of those things.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw that from the side, and then he gets up there to the free throw line, the camera's in on him. Of course, I was in the arena, but I was up, and I saw the deal down here on the chin, and I'm like, whoa, that was just unkempt. But you put that with Pop's hair.
Sure.
Again, believe me, I'm not casting judgment here, but it was just, the fellas are the fellas are going for a look right there. I hope it's like playoff hair, or whatever. We'll shave when we get to the Final Four or something like that. Although that might not be good.
I've never seen sideburns like that because they're not really connected to anything.
I know they kind of go out here.
They're islands,
old school, like some 1970s rocker.
Am I making up that Andre the Giant had that for a little bit in his time?
Oh yeah, you may be right.
Did he?
Because he would have the French connection then.
Seems like that would be something like the lead singer from Foghat had for a minute too.
Like Andre the Giant, they were always more or less connected to, his main hair, like his actual sideburns. I don't know that he had any sideburn islands.
Sideburn island. What's a pork chop? What was that? Didn't it just go down here and stop? Didn't the pork chop? Isn't that something kind of down here?
I saw the most. I've never seen this before in my entire life.
Yeah.
I told you the other day about the YouTube rabbit hole that I've gone down in terms of the old like BBC interviews and stuff from like the 70s and 80s. I watched most of a like 45-minute made-for-TV documentary made in like 71 about how in London they knocked down a bunch of kind of houses, like row houses, and built a bunch of council flats, apartment buildings. And, people were complaining about how it sucked, etc. There was one dude that lived in there who had, and I don't know how I'm going to describe this for folks that are listening on the radio. So really, this is just for Gus and Clint. So sorry.
look at the camera if you're at home.
But it was two thin lines of hair, right on either side, like one on each side of the nostril, that went down and then flared out. So think of like two L's basically of hair that were pointing out. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. Can you picture what I'm saying here?
So next to the nostril, so he had some facial hair up here.
It was
right
typical
here.
Mustache area.
Wow.
It went down and then out.
That sounds awful.
How do you?
I believe you saw Waluigi.
Well, because it wasn't like a all the way out. Because that would make a lot more sense. This was an L. It was like a square basically, except it was an L. The lengths were equal here.
Yeah, what makes you think that same thing? That he looked in the mirror every day and went,
yeah, dude.
Look at that perfect angle right there, 90 degrees, baby. That's what that mustache is.
Nice and tight, boy.
I don't even know how you do that. I don't know how you keep that, unless you just use tweezers or something, and that would be really painful.
I don't know if they had the little super specific razors back then. Probably probably like you said. He was probably working that thing with little tiny scissors.
Somebody fill some time while I look.
Oh, all right.
How tiny of scissors are we talking about?
Oh, they'd have to be. I mean, you're not getting.
Because they would have to be tiny enough blade to be precise, but big enough that you could handle it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, probably like the kind you cut your nose hair with.
Go, Gus.
Those kind of thing. Oh my God!
I'm telling you, right?
Look at that crap. Hey, hello, ladies. That dude.
Well, he's married.
That is a serial killer. That is a serial killer for sure,
dude.
You didn't say he had the yellow tint glasses with it.
Oh,
I mean, the total.
It was 1971. Come on,
the total package.
Oh my gosh, dude! Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, I'm not We'll throw that on Twitter or something because the world needs to see that.
Yeah,
do you remember what his name was on it?
I can go back and look.
Clint.
Yeah, London Council Estates.
London.
Where the houses used to be.
We call him London Clint from now on. What kind of a mustache is that? But it's the London Clint.
This in the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Sideburn Islands, weed strain.
Oh, nice.
Shelly says, Kerwin has the best hair on the team since we're on the topic.
That fro is immaculate.
Yes. I actually had a lass that was sitting near me that commented on his look.
Really?
Yeah, said exactly that. Like, that's good hair right there, like the whole look. Because it's kind of sort of everybody's first chance to see these folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like, Kerwin's got good hair. I was like, okay.
Let us know what you think on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at doublet973.com. More tech talk next.
Podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
I feel like, going from thong song to this is quite a jump,
Hey.
Kind of need a soft landing here, I think.
Feels like we need, what's our concert?
Gin Blossoms.
Yeah, we need some Gin Blossoms. Can you do that? I know you did the one song yesterday. Can you, just over the course of the next couple hours, can you prime the pump for Saturday at 4:00?
True story. I got in my car last night after the show, fired up Spotify on the phone, Gin Blossoms all the way home.
Nice. I did Hey Jealousy twice on the way home.
Okay, a little repeat.
Yeah, I just reach over there and play that again.
Love to get your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at doublet973.com. All guests appear via the Benchmark hotline. Red Raiders will take on the Kansas Jayhawks on Saturday. We'll have the game for you here on Double T 97.3. Optimum Game Day live coverage starts at 7 a.m. Are you So the Astros, and we would probably be talking about this if it wasn't involving America's team, the World Series champs, Houston Astros, because it's a bizarre. Like you, on the one hand, you have a team that has capped off one of the most impressive, 5 or 6 year runs in the certainly the wild card era. Mm-hmm. 4 World Series appearances, 2 championships. We can talk about the trash cans, et cetera, if you want. But in terms of the numbers, they're very good.
No denying.
You would think that, hey, no brainer. Let's bring back the leadership team that helped make this happen. And you saw Dusty Baker re-sign for a 1-year deal, and the 1-year deal for a 73-year-old makes perfect sense. But the GM, James Click, I mean, there's clearly some kind of tension there with the owner, Jim Crane. And there was a press conference today in Houston because the Astros announced the re-signing of Dusty Baker for a 1-year deal, and it was just awkward. I mean, it was just really, really awkward because he was asked about, hey, what's the hold with James Click? And it seems like, I mean, at this point, why delay the inevitable, right? Why kind of mess around try to give him a 1-year deal? That's kind of an insult, frankly. Because I'm sure there are other teams that would love to hire a guy fresh off of a World Series. This makes no sense.
I'm with you, and it seems bizarre. And articles are being written about this. I mean, this isn't.
It's become a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're both now. Click went to the GM meetings. I think immediately, like. Jumped on a plane to Vegas, and that might have been, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday or something, but they, all the GMs congregate, and there's probably some trade talk, and who knows what all goes on at those things. But they're probably starting to sift through some of the issues and some of the things and just all that. But yeah, I mean, think about when Click came in. Now he inherited a nice roster, no doubt, but he was instrumental in bringing in Dusty Baker, which was at a time when the Astros really needed an adult in the room to steady the ship, because they were getting thrown at and in spring training games and just all the crap that was coming their way. And I'm not saying that's good or bad, but to their credit, they weathered all that, and they spun off Correa, they spun off Springer, and they've maintained a high level, obviously. But Click, from all accounts, sounds like a really good, sounds like a good Major League Baseball executive. And the Astros have understandably, when you're as good as they've been for as long as they've been, some of their their director of scouting has been picked off and to the Marlins, and one of their other assistant GMs was named GM somewhere recently in somewhere with some of the openings, and that's the price of success. That people want some of what you got, and it's really bizarre, and I don't know enough to know if he's playing the field at this point. In other words, if he's taking calls from whoever might have openings, GM openings right now, and I don't know who would. I think Detroit notably fired their operation this summer. The Rangers did as well, but they had their internal plan already set up, and so I don't know if there's any openings out there right now. But I think Click is highly regarded. The one thing that there was some public clash over had to do with him wanting to increase the size of maybe scouting operations or something, but just to add some personnel there to because he had seen success with that when he was with the Rays, and the Rays are famous for doing a lot with a little over the last 10 to 15 years, and supposedly he and the owner, and when I say clash, that's my word. I don't know if they had a public thing, but that got to the media a little bit.
The speculation, chatter, gossip, rumor mill, whatever that I've seen from folks in Houston is that Crane likes big deals, right? He likes, like the Justin Verlander stuff. that was all Jim Crane, and whereas Click is maybe more kind of methodical, maybe conservative. I don't know. And there might just be like a personality conflict, because we get so caught up in the wins and losses, and how the assumption that, hey, when you win, everything's great in the locker room, whether it's football or baseball, whatever. But no, this is a workplace just like any other. Sure. And when you boil it all down, the product is different, the building is different, but you still work with people. And, just like you might maybe hate Steve in the cubicle next to you, or Sally down the hall, the same dynamics are at play at a baseball organization or a football organization. And so maybe it just boils down to he doesn't like the way he cuts his hair.
I think the Click was asked about that, and he said, and I don't think he said it in a confrontational way, but I think the reporters were trying to get at something. He said, we're different. There's no question about that. And he said, but different's okay. And again, he was trying to tamp down the stuff, because they may very well be in negotiations, and Click may be saying, hey, I want, asking for some things that Crane doesn't want, but he said he's much more impulsive than I am, and but a rich guy that's had a lot of money for a long time would be able to be a little more impulsive. See that golf course over there? I want it.
Right.
Get that snap. Chop.
Nice to know what that's like.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's very choice of you guys.
Crane. It was Crane was a Division II pitcher, I think at Central Missouri State, and actually pitched his team to the Division II World Series, and I think he threw like a 3-hit shutout in like the first game of the Division II series in the mid '70s. So like he has some legit baseball chops. I'm not saying he went and played pro ball or anything else, but
is he like maybe a fringe college baseball Hall of Fame candidate?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, He is a college. That we do have a George Bush Award for people like him who lettered in college baseball, who went on to do great things in life after baseball. So,
well, and
good thinking by you.
Owning America's team certainly qualifies.
Well,
that's for you, Raiders.
I don't. Yeah, I got it. I don't know. I like it. I don't know if it qualifies for a teaser, but I can tell you about meeting Jim Crane in his office if you'd like to hear about it.
There we go. More Tech Talk next.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, how are you? Happy Wednesday. It's Tech Talk. Thank you for spending part of your afternoon with us alongside my good friends Gus and Clint. I'm Aaron with you for another hour and a half. Would love to hear from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at doublet973.com. Gus and Clint, we are in the middle of 21 consecutive days with some kind of college or professional football being broadcast on television, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what the game is today, but there will be some game tonight on, I'm guessing it's MACtion.
There was 2 MAC games rolling last night.
There were, yeah. I was kind of flipping between those and the cable networks. But tonight we have 3 games. We have Northern Illinois at Western Michigan. NIU is a 1-point favorite. We have Buffalo at Central Michigan. The Chippewas are a 2.5-point favorite. And we have Kent State at Bowling Green. The Golden Flashes are 2-point favorites. And the MAC is fairly, I think, not famous, but well known for playing a lot of these midweek games, especially in November. They kind of get the spotlight all of themselves. ESPN benefits because they get live sporting events that they wouldn't otherwise have on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or whatever. Well, the MAC is now no longer alone. Conference USA today announced its new TV deal, split between ESPN and CBS Sports Network.
Okay.
And beginning next year, Conference USA will shift its entire slate of October football games to midweek evenings. So if you are in Conference USA and you're playing football in October, it ain't on Saturday.
Which doesn't bother me as a fan for the road games. The home games, the Wednesday night game would be a little problematic. Just as we've talked about that, the Thursday night home games are problematic. Now, once every couple years or every blue moon, I'll deal with it, but not my favorite thing.
Well, and I think these will be a bunch of like Tuesday, Wednesday games.
That's
right. Because Thursday, there have been Big 12 games on Thursday in October and Pac-12 games on Friday. This is probably going to be more Tuesday, Wednesday than anything else.
I asked you, and I'm referencing going to a local place here and eating some Taco Tuesday last night, and 2 TVs were on 2 separate MAC games. And I've been curious. I've talked about this or I've thrown it out. That what is the value of having a time slot to yourself in a way that every sports bar in America or every restaurant TV is on your game? And because that's a thing. That is a thing. In the summertime, it's get a baseball game on, the weeknight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I was just, I got a kick out of it because I had one in my view, and Brooks, my son, was sitting over here, and he had this one in his view, and we're like, wait, we got 2 separate MAC games, and they might have started 30 minutes.
What a luxury.
Well, yeah. And again, I didn't go home and watch that, but I there in that moment, it was absolutely what we were looking at.
Yeah, the game last night, or at least one of them, was pretty close there at the end. Next year, Conference USA will have FIU, Louisiana Tech. So this affects Sonny Cumbie.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee State, UTEP, Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State, not to be confused with Jackson State, Liberty, New Mexico State, Kennesaw State, and Sam Houston State. So 2 Texas programs will be affected by this move in October. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. Well, I don't. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't blow my mind just for all the reasons we talked about. It's eyeballs. I mean, we have for the last how many years? 30 bowl games. Oh my God, there's too many. Da da da. But what are the bowl games? I mean, when you look at them, they're spread through the calendar. There's 2 a night, all through the holidays. Mm-hmm. And I may be wrong about this, but the holidays, once you get into December, and especially around bowl season, from December 20th on for that 10-day stretch or whatever, feels like there's a lot more people that are at home. You just have more time for that as opposed to. And certainly part of that has to do with everybody in America that's got some sort of a tie to an educational calendar, meaning children, or if you work in the education business or you work at a college or whatever. But, there's a Wednesday 5 o'clock kickoff on a bowl game, and then the next one's at 8:30 or whatever. A lot of times on the same channels, or ESPN, ESPN2, just – and that's what it's always been about, that hey, we got a little time spot here that's – all we're going to be up against is, at that point in time, maybe some random non-conference hoops, maybe some intriguing matchups, but people aren't as married to that maybe as they are a bowl game, and even if it's 2 7-5 teams.
The October part of this, I think, is interesting because, at that point, you're not really going up against college basketball or the NBA, but you are still going up against baseball and
postseason,
playoff baseball. But
we'd be talking about some Tuesday, Wednesday stuff for sure. That's it is very interesting, and got to believe that they'll be marketing that 27 days in a row or whatever. They'll be playing that up on the calendar and hyping that.
Yeah, because if it's October, if it's all of October, right, then you might have 2 months essentially.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
This in the Yates Flooring Center chat line from Bobby Hot Dogs. Aaron, did you catch some Kansan variant of the whooping cough from Clint? Seems like you've had that cough for a month now. It feels that way, but I've only had it for about a week.
Yeah, because you were down and out with all of the actual crud, and now you've got the post crud cough.
Yeah, and kind of. I'm sure that talking for 3 hours doesn't really help the situation, but it is what it is. This in the chat line. I don't get what this is referring to. No, you don't treat male athletes the same as female.
Oh,
did I miss something there?
That's got to. Sometimes we get replies to the PSAs. I don't know. Maybe if it's to a PSA or something like that.
Is there a PSA?
It sounds like we would probably have a PSA, something in that regards.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't give that any context. Something that we said, but I don't think so.
This in the chat line. Yep, from Metalhead. Yep, I always have to get the tech game on. Baton Rouge to Lubbock. Not even crazy channels. Yeah, the Conference USA is taking a bit of a hit. There was a time where they were a pretty decent little conference. But now they're below the Sun Belt, I think, in terms of the quality pecking order. Because they lost a bunch of their teams, a lot of their good teams to the Fun Belt.
Yeah, been pulled apart, no doubt.
Love to get your thoughts and your comments in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at doublet973.com.
Oh, my Jim Crane real quick.
Oh, crap, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all right. It just dawned on me. I looked down, that's what I had written down. This may be anticlimactic, but do you know where his office is? Is this common knowledge? Mm-mm. Like I would have thought it's in the ballpark somewhere, right?
Sure.
And you've been there, obviously, to Minute Maid, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's the building beyond left field. So there's a little tiny road, like almost an alley, right, beyond left field, Crawford boxes. And there's about a 6-story kind of old brick building. His office is in the very top of that, and it's the windows looking out of it. And so the day we were in there, kind of introducing ourselves, College Baseball of Fame, this and that, and the roof was open, and from his desk, you can look down into the park. Now, you can't see down on the bottom, like you can't see the Crawford boxes. You can easily see the infield, and that's going, I could live with this view right here, looking into a major league field. And I don't know how much of their operations are up there, but it may very well be all of it. You know what I mean? And I mean, we'll say operations, but offices. You know, if you're the head of the Astros marketing, because it's truly a tiny little 2-lane road alley, like almost between there and that building. And so to walk, get on the elevator, walk down across the street, and be in the gate behind the Crawford boxes is about 10 steps.
You know what they should do?
What's that?
Zip line.
I thought you were going to say Sky Bridge.
Or Sky Bridge too, yeah. The America's Team Sky Bridge.
Zip line all the way down.
You've been listening to the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Check out Double T973.com for more from Lubbock Sports Station.